Hello everyone. Now today we'll see the next topic from our unit number 1. The topic name is Introduction to OpenGL. So previously means in 2015 pattern this topic was in unit number 6 because it contains all the terms which we are covering in up to the unit number 5, that terms comes under this OpenGL. But now in this pattern this concept is given in unit number 1. So there are maybe some terms that you don't know right now, but later we move on from unit to unit, you will come to know what these terms exactly. Okay. So till we look this process, how this OpenGL works in our system, where it works, at which level it is working, and what is the purpose of this OpenGL. After this we are again having one assignment on this OpenGL, that is a second last assignment on this OpenGL. So we have to again learn the installation of this OpenGL. So it is very important topic as per syllabus point of view and again as per the practical point of view. So let's see what the content we are going to cover here is introduction, its architecture, then what are the primitives required and what are the attributes of OpenGL. So what is the OpenGL? The full form of this is Open Graphics Library. Its name itself indicate that this graphic library is open to use, right? So its name is OpenGL. It is a standard specification which is defining a cross language, cross platform API. What is API? It is the application program interface that for writing the application that producing 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional computer graphics. What is the cross language and cross platform? That means language independent and the language or a platform independent API we are using over here. Why we are using these applications? For producing 2D and 3D graphics images or graphics animation, etc. For this purpose we are going to use this OpenGL. So this interface consists of over 250 different functions calls we are using here to draw some complex object. Okay, to draw some complex 3-dimensional scene from simple primitives, means by using simple primitives we can draw the complex objects also. This is what the purpose behind this OpenGL. So this purpose is that to render 2 or 3-dimensional objects into the frame buffer. We have seen what is the frame buffer, right? So we are storing all the information regarding the pixels into the frame buffer. So we can say this OpenGL is what the low level procedural API. API is nothing but application program interface, that is requiring the programmer to detect the exact steps required to render a scene. Means whenever you want to create a scene, so whatever the steps are required, that steps are given with this OpenGL, okay, to create that particular animation or any particular scene. So the most OpenGL commands are either issue the primitives to the graphics pipelines, or it configure how to pipeline process this primitives. So how which operations we are doing or which primitives we are using over here are the points, lines, polygon. These are very basic primitives of graphics. So let's see its architecture first and then we'll move towards the primitives. Okay, so what its architecture is exactly. So first of all we are having some commands. That commands are entered from left and they are proceed through the processing pipeline. Okay, all of you know you are having the pipeline architecture in upcoming syllabus. So you will come to know what is the pipeline architecture and how it executes the command one by one. Okay, so these commands are executed either by pipeline architecture and some commands that specify the geometric object to be drawn. So what this command is showing, which object is we have to draw and how to control that particular drawn object, that how that control that object during the various processing stage. Means whatever the stages are there, upcoming stages, how that objects are controlled, that control commands are given with this command. Okay, then these commands are again move toward the display list. It is not a mandatory to move the command in display list, but some of the commands we can move towards the display list. So what is the purpose of display list here? In display now in commands we are executing that command in pipeline manner, means one after another, but sometimes it may happen that we can pre-process that command, means we already executed that command and we have stored that executed command in display list. So what we can do, we can directly take that command from the display list which has previously executed or pre-processed. We can say pre-processed commands are stored in the display list. So we can execute that more efficiently from display list, okay. Or another thing is that some of the commands may be executed later, means not required to execute in pipeline fashion, but we can execute that command later. So that command we can also store in the display list. So this is what the use of display list over here, means we can use the pre-processed command or previously executed command from display list, or we can store the commands which we want to execute later. So this is what the purpose of display list, and this display list is going to use the pixel operations. So what is the pixel operation? There are different operations which are carried out on a pixel, such as we are we are storing pixel in frame buffer, we are mapping that pixel, we are again zooming that pixel, we are making a transformations on that pixel. Transformation is a separate unit we are going to see. So transformation is nothing but scaling, we are rotating that pixel, we are enlarging, right. So these are nothing but the transformation which we can apply on that pixel. So these operations we are going to perform: storing, mapping, zooming and transformations operation we are going to perform in pixel operations, which is required whenever we are storing some pre-processed command onto the display list. So these commands are given as a input to this pixels operation, okay. Then next is this evaluated command or output of your pixel operations are given as an input to evaluator. So now see, commands are can be a pipeline or they can be executed with display file. So both commands are given as an input to evaluator. So you can see here these commands are also given as an input, or you can see this commands from display list after processing also given as an input to evaluator. So these are the two inputs to evaluator. Now what is the evaluator exactly? The evaluator stage of processing provides an efficient way to approximate the curve or to surface geometry by using some functions, okay. So what evaluator does? It does the approximation process. Now this term is very new to you, that is approximation curve. That are the parts we are covering in our unit number 4 and 5th. What is the curve approximation that we are going to perform in our upcoming units. So all these things are done with this evaluator. The next part of after this evaluator, that the output of this evaluator is given to this primitive assembly. What is this assembly? So OpenGL process the geometric primitives such as said previously, that points, line segments or polygons, all of which are described by vertices. Means whatever the shapes that are described by vertices are processed by this primitive assembly. So that vertices may be transformed, they may be clipped, any operations we can perform on that vertices, that all are done by this primitive assembly. After that, whatever the operations we have performed on pixel, that is mapping, zooming, storing, etc., that may be use this texture memory, means the pixel data is either stored as a texture memory, means that data you are storing in this texture memory for use in the rasterization stage. So whatever the stage we are using further, for that you can give this texture memory as a input. You can see here you are giving this texture memory as a input to this rasterization process. So which is resulting the fragments merge into the frame buffer, means before going towards the frame buffer you are doing something fragmentation over here with the help of this rasterization and texture memory, and this is given as a input to the next process. So this rasterization process goes towards the frame buffer, but before going towards the frame buffer there is one more stage that is called as a pre-fragment operation. So what this pre-fragment operation? These are the final operations performed on the data before it is stored as a pixel in the frame buffer. Means in rasterization, this stage produce a series of frame buffer addresses and associated values that we have to store into the frame buffer, and that values are associated with the point, line segment or polygon, and each fragment produce or they are fed into the last stage or a pre-fragment operation. Means some operations we are performing in rasterization that are finalized in the frame fragment operation, and this is given as an input to the frame buffer, and again the output of your frame buffer is given to the pixels operation. Now what is the purpose of frame buffer? We are storing the information related to pixel into the frame buffer. In which manner? By performing some transformation on that pixels, etc., and these are given to the frame buffer, and again the output of frame buffer is given as an input to the pixels operation. So this is what the continuous process of OpenGL architecture. Where it exactly lie? So you are having some your input and output devices, you are having your hardware and software. Above that there is OpenGL application programming interface. OpenGL API is stay here before serving an application and after your hardware and software usage. In between this there is a OpenGL that providing you a graphics packages that you can use for your application purposes. Then next part is how its library are organized. So the OpenGL is very core library, and some terms are there, that is OpenGL utility library and utility toolkit. These terms we are going to see in our next lecture. So this OpenGL utility library gives the GL functions to create the common objects. Okay, it is available in an OpenGL implementation, and whenever you are using utility toolkit, so it provides the minimum functionalities expected for interacting with the modern windowing system. It giving some functionalities, that utility toolkit. We are seeing this term in brief in next lecture. Then what are the primitives? So API should contain a small set of primitives that the hardware can be expected to support, right? These primitives are nothing but whatever the operations or main commands we are using, that primitives are interacted with hardware, okay, to give a support to this library. So there are two basic libraries, that is first is basic library that has a small set of primitives, very common set of primitives, and one more library is there that is called as a GLU library, that contains a rich set of objects that is derived from your basic library. Means whatever the primitives we are using in basic library, from that we are created one derived primitives that is called as a GLU library. Okay, and again two classes are there for these primitives, geometric primitives and the raster primitives. So what is the geometric primitives? They are subject to series of geometric operations. Okay, means there is a series of operations, they include some points, some line segments and some curves. And one more primitive, that is a raster primitive. Here is a very lack of geometric primitive, it not consists any object like point or a line segment or a curves or polygon, etc., but it may be a simply like an array structure. Okay, that is called as a raster primitive. So in this computer graphics we are going to see the geometric primitives only. Means we are going to work with the points, we are going to work with the line segment, we are going to work with the curves, etc. Okay, so these are the primitive which we are going to see. So we are covering this in a next video. We'll stop this OpenGL architecture topic over here. Thank you all of you.